So tell us about your current ministry where you are in Needham and what you do there.
So I was senior pastor of First Baptist Church in Needham for many years, and worked with that church on a process of calling toward their next thing, which ended up being a merger with First Baptist Church in Jamaica Plain. So two local churches in very different communities with very different assets and resources have merged those resources toward something new, a new possibility. And since that time, I've been serving First Baptist Church in Newton, which is another suburb of Boston. Boston has lots of suburbs, little towns. Most of them end with a ham of some kind, Dedham, Needham. But this is Newton, the home of Andover Newton Theological School for many years. So that is where I'm serving currently, and I'm the pastor of faith formation and the arts there. Most of my responsibilities revolve around children and youth. So Sunday mornings, I'm designing curriculum for them, working with them and nurturing their faith, and helping them to develop their faith, and they're helping me to develop my own. I feel like working with children is a reciprocal thing. It's a partnership, and they certainly have a lot of wisdom to offer us, and many, many gifts to offer us in our own journeys of faith as people and as communities that foster, one another's faith development. Part of the reason I was excited for this position is because of that. I think our kids are a huge part of what it means to be disciples of Christ. They are gifts to us, and I think in order for us to fully live out our call as Christians, as followers of Jesus, we have to recognize those gifts. Jesus called us to welcome children and make space for them, and called us to be like children. And we can't be like children unless we see them and honor them and affirm them. So that, I think as much as this initiative is for creating space for kids, it's also about our own spiritual journeys and how we are opening ourselves up to what God is doing and how God is moving in our hearts and in our churches. So, yes.
And you believe so strongly in what you're saying right now about the walk table that you, along with your sisters, actually published these books. Seasons of Welcome, the Year of Weekly Reflections and Practices of Welcome for All Seasons, the Year of Weekly Stories and Practices, the Offering of Hope, Advent at the Kids' Table. Say a word about these. You like these here, not.
So my sisters and I started a project called the Welcome Table. This was in 2020, and we noticed that our world, not that very much unlike today, felt very polarized, and folks were not making space for one another to have healthy, respectful conversation around our cross difference. So we saw this as a need in our communities to create something that could allow folks time and space to be in respectful dialogue and reflection with one another. We started the Welcome Table as an Advent reflection series, so we put out weekly emails that went out, actually daily emails for that season that folks could tap into. We imagined that, we have a fairly large family. We thought maybe our family would read our emails, and that would be great. And they would be like, "Oh, yay! Look at those Bunce girls! How they've grown up." But we ended up by the end of the Advent season having 700 people following our reflections, and so then we really knew this is something that people are needing and seeing a need for. So that series, which became Advent at the Welcome Table, has since been published in book form, and used by communities, not just churches, but churches for small group study and for congregational reflection, but also for people's personal reflections and conversations in their community groups. And one of the things, so now we have Advent at the Welcome Table, we have Seasons of Welcome, which is a year-long reflection series. We have the Traveling Table, which is a summer series based on the fruits of the Spirit that people can take with them as they vacation around or whatever you happen to be doing in the summer. We have For Love's Sake, which is a Lenten devotional series. And all of these come with kids' younger reader partner, component, because we felt that young folks are the future of what we're going to be, and if we want to encourage healthy, respectful dialogue and thinking about faith and around faith, then they have to be a part of this. Also, intergenerational conversation is important, and so the older reader versions and the younger reader versions of our resources pair with one another, so parents and children or caregivers and children can read these together in tandem and have conversations, across whatever divisions they might be feeling. I know that, I think initially when we started this, we were thinking primarily divisions theologically or politically or socially, but there's a lot in the intergenerational gap that folks feel separation about, or just this yearning to be in deeper relationship with one another. And so hopefully these resources encourage that as well.
Terrific. Well, there are a few around, and you all can definitely take a look at them and get acquainted more with some of the work that Daryn has done. We are just so, well, before I end this, just on a personal note, so tell your new colleagues, what do you enjoy doing at your personal social time when you're not preaching and teaching and telling kids about the God and welcoming the table and all that? What do you do?
So there are several things that I like to do. One is singing. So Jennifer Sanborn and I share that passion and love. I grew up in a musical family, and singing with other people, singing in harmony with other people makes my heart very happy. I have recently picked up the art of ceramics, so just in the last several years. And that is something that I find very meditative. And, I can just go in there. I don't go in expecting to create masterpieces. In fact, the very first class I ever had, my ceramics class, my instructor crafted this beautiful vase in probably like 5 seconds. I mean, just, magically made this thing appear. And then she picked it up and tossed it in the recycle bin, which is the place where all your failed projects go. She just tossed it in there. And I remember like, what are you doing? This is how I felt. And she just said, don't get too attached to your pieces in here. It's a process. And that was such a liberating thing for me. So I'd go in there. Some days I don't make anything. I just play with the clay, and just being in there is a really helpful thing for me. It's a space I can go where I don't have to hold everything together. I can just be and play. And I think, that's a really beautiful thing. I also enjoy gardening. So I like the art of seeing how things relate to one another and trying to make something beautiful where I am. So that's a little bit about me.
Wonderful. Well, we want you to know that we're glad you're here.